All right, now that we've got this house all made and cleaned up, hopefully you watched tutorial number 6 and cleaned up some of the lines. If you didn't, you can still go back and do that. We're ready to make a chimney for this, and it's actually pretty simple. First thing we want to do is make sure we explode our walls. It sounds more drastic than it is, but it basically means you're allowing yourself to work on them. So if you did watch the last video, you've already done this. If you didn't, you're probably going to have to explode your wall. So the best way to do this is to click on the wall group, right click on it, and choose explode. Okay, now if you right click on it and explode is grayed out, that means you've already done it, so you don't have to worry about this. But keep right clicking and hitting explode until it's grayed out like that. You may have to do it as many as 3 times to get it to where you need it to be. Okay, but once you have, if you're selecting down in this lower section, once you get to right click and explode is grayed out, you're ready to start working. So let's start. All right, so I'm going to turn to the side. That's where we're going to form our chimney. And we need an opening into this wall because obviously a fireplace needs to have an opening into the house going into the chimney. So let's do that now. We're going to go to the tape measure tool and just kind of pull up somewhere up here. We're going to go up about 6 inches. You need to make sure, like here, you can't even see it. That's because I'm doing it on probably the red axis, and we can't do that. We need to have it on the blue axis like this, okay? So get it on the blue axis and then type 6, enter. So 6 inches. And now we're going to make a 3x3 opening, okay? So click on the rectangle tool. We're going to kind of orient ourselves facing the fireplace. You can zoom in a little bit. And I want the opening kind of centered over this area here. So kind of line yourself up with this line here. And when you're about there, click once, move your mouse over, get it to about where it needs to be, and just let go and type 3 foot. That was not feet. 3 feet, comma, 3 feet, enter. Okay, so we've got this nice little box here. Let's go ahead to the push-pull tool and push it in until it says on face, and then let go. And you can see we can now see into the house from where the chimney inside will be, and that's what we want. Okay, so we can now go to our erase tool and get rid of that guideline. You can leave it till the end if you want, but it's easy enough to do right now. So let's trace out our walls for the chimney. And this is really simple. Let's go to your pencil tool, your line tool. Start here. Make sure it stays red. And then just trace the inside. Make sure it stays green, then red again. And go ahead and delete that face. And then go back to your line tool and do the outside. Get as close as you can. Stays red, then green, and then red again. And you can see it makes our border here, so we know we're ready to push-pull it. Before I push-pull it, mine happens to be kind of grayed out there. So I'm going to right-click on it and reverse face until it's kind of white. If yours is already white, you don't have to worry about it. But this will look better if I do it that way. All right, now we're going to push-pull it. If you look at the house plan, you can see the chimney actually rises well above the ridge of the roof, and that's just for ventilation to get the smoke up well above the ridge. So there's very little, if any, chance of it pulling inside to the house through the soffits or vents or things like that. So they want it pretty high up in the air, so we're going to do that. Uh-oh. There we go. All right, so let's go and push-pull this. You might need to click on it like I did, and then push-pull it. I'm having trouble. No, there we go. I'm having internet trouble, so if this slows down, that's why. And what I'm going to do is basically pull it up so that I know it's at least above the roof like this. And then somewhere up here, I'm going to let go, and I'm going to type in 20 feet. Enter. Okay? And that's well above the ridge. That's about where I'd want it. Okay? So at this point, I want to hide the walls and the ceiling and the image. So go over to your tags, hide walls, hide the ceiling, and hide the image, but we're going to leave the roof, okay? And the reason we're going to leave the roof is because we want this to be able to intersect the roof and then cut away this little tiny section in here. Because if this were a real chimney, you want to have an actual open area. And you can see if you look down the chimney, it's not fully open. So we need to fix that. All right, so once you have the other things hidden and it's just a roof and the chimney that we've drawn here, go ahead to your select tool, pull a box around the entire thing so that everything's selected, and then right click and choose intersect faces with model. Okay, and so what it's done is you notice it's made kind of like little lines here. Now I'm able to trace those out and I can push this area down. So if I kind of turn this way, I'm going to start with a line like this, and I want to get it right at that intersection, right there, okay? And then move it to the other side, okay? Let's see if I can push that pull now. Pull it now. No, I'm not ready to. So I'm going to have to draw a box around the entire thing. So here, and here, and then here. Now let's try. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. You have to double click the roof, right click on it, and explode it. Okay, now you should be able to push pull that. Okay, so let's go to push pull. I'm going to select on just this section. You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to undo this. All right, so if you were like me and you forgot to explode it, right click, choose explode. Okay, then go in and draw your lines like this and like here to here. Okay, now you can see I've got it separated. Now I can push pull it down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Push pull down to where it says on face and then let go. And you might have to click on it and delete it. There we go. All right, so let's look at our roof to make sure it didn't do any damage underneath it. And so far it looks fine. Yeah, that's fine. Those are just wall marks where the wall goes. So we're good. I do want to get rid of this invisible extra line. If you have one, just take your erase tool. My internet's really slow here. Okay, there we go. All right, and now we're ready. It has this little part sticking out. That's that roof coming up this way. That's actually not going to be in the way. All this chimney is going to have is a pipe in the middle of it. So I can see enough down into the chimney that I'm good to go from where I'm at. Okay, so let's do this. Let's hide the image, hide the roof. So all we're left with is this chimney here that we started making. Let's go ahead and actually, before I tag it, let's finish building on it. So what if I put the roof back, what I really need to do is fill in this empty area here. So usually all you have to do that is just do a line from this corner here to there, and it kind of fills everything in the way you want it. So now I can push pull this backwards. I'm going to go 4 inches, 4, and then do the same over here. So on face, or you could type in 4 inches. Either way works. Okay. And now I kind of have my chimney going here. So I'm going to hide my roof because I don't want it to anyhow get affected by anything I do here. And what I do want to do is create a rectangle in the middle. So if I click on this and hit delete, you can see that I don't quite have a full plane here. I need it to be the thickness of a wall. So if that happens to you, all you have to do is click on the push-pull tool and move it over. You'll notice that it should build a second wall in there, and you can put it on edge. If not, if it's just moving the line over, you can tap your control key and it'll build it that way. But either way, I'm going to click there, and now I've got a wall going all the way down. I can clean this up a little bit here and here. And then I want to take my rectangle tool and fill in that rectangle right there in the middle. Okay. And we're going to build off that rectangle right now. All right, so let's go to our tape measure tool. We want to get a center point on this. So just click anywhere on this top line and move down, and then slide along this line here until you get to the midpoint. Now I've got a line centered that way. Now do the same thing on this edge. Click once, move along this top until you hit the center, and then click. Now we know this is dead center within this rectangle. Okay, don't do the outer rectangle, do the inner rectangle. Okay, so now I can do some geometry from that. First of all, let's make a circle. All right, so go to your circle tool. Okay, and let's start with an 8-inch circle. So I'm going to pull it out about this far, type 8, enter. And I'm going to do another circle inside of that. And I'm going to type 7.5, enter. Okay. So now let's delete this middle piece right there, delete. All right. So we've got a nice flat opening there. We are going to give some depth to this in a second, but we just wanted to start with the circle. So let's push pull a little bit. If you go to the push pull tool, we want to zoom in and get this inner ring here, not the middle, not the outside, right in here. And let's pull that up 8 inches. So 8, enter. Okay, so I've kind of got a pipe opening coming up here. Now we could draw the pipe going all the way down to the bottom to the fireplace, but we're right now just looking at the frame. Okay, so now let's take this here and pull it up 4 inches. Enter. And then do this to face, or we can also do that to 4 inches. It's being real finicky with me, so I'm just going to type in 4 inches, enter. And now we've got the thickness that we want. All right, almost done. Let's take our offset tool right here, and we're going to offset this outside rectangle. So click on that and move to the outside. We're not going to do an inside offset. We're going to do an outside and then type in 1 inch. So 1, enter. Okay. And we are going to push that down. This is going to be a trim piece. So click on your push pull, get that outer rim and go down. Let's go down 6 inches, enter. And then do another offset. You might have to zoom in. Oop, not that far. Click on this inner rim that you just made and make another offset to the outside, 1 inch, enter. And push pull that down 2 inch. Okay, so you can see what we did is we created some trim here. Okay, so now I can just kind of go and clean up all my extra lines. So in my eraser tool, these are just extra at this point, and I don't like the looks of them, so I'm getting rid of them. You don't have to do this, but again, like, you want to take pride in your work, so get all the extra things done. And I also have some guidelines here that I want to get rid of. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here to my display menu and choose delete all guides. Okay, and that takes care of all that. The last thing I want to do is I want to tag this as a chimney. Okay, so let's go to tags, make a new tag, and we're going to call it chimney. Chimney. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and select all of this. I'm not even going to bother grouping it. I'm just going to right click on it, entity info, and change it to chimney. Okay, so now I can toggle my chimney on and off. I don't know how I missed those. Let me do this. I'm not sure what those lines are for, if they're even important. Hopefully not. We'll find out when we... Oh, they're actually not even disappearing, so I'm just going to ignore them. But anyway, there's our chimney. Let's turn our other parts back on and see how our house looks. So here's the ceiling. Here's the roof. Interestingly, it changed the color of that roof plane. So I'm going to right click on it and reverse face. And let's make sure it didn't do anything to the bottom. That all looks good. Yep. And let's put our walls in. And now our image. And that is pretty good stopping point right there. So hopefully you got this far with us. And if you did, you have quite a nice looking house here, and you can see it's a good amount like this plan here, which is probably going to load slow because the internet's going slow. So, oh, here it is. Yep. And there we go. All right, so save your work and you are done. So good job. I hope you learned a lot from this, and I'll try to get one more video on here to kind of do some finishing touches. So hopefully you'll enjoy that.